I'm nervous is not the word. But anyway, I'm here to, like Boneyard says, to glorify God, what he's done in my life. I'm a Christian now, coming up to 4 years. So, yeah, right. I'm Alan Cunningham. I was born and reared in Shankill. And I have 3 brothers, Glenn, Robert and Brian. Well, growing up, and my wee sister, Callie, she passed away last year with COVID, God help her. But anyway, the 4 of us were growing up in the Shankill Woodville here. And my mother and father, they were separated at a young age. And as we were growing up, my ma had her handfuls around the 4 of us. So she did. We were involved in everything up at Woodville, Shankill, ratting, stealing, breaking into places, the heap. You name it. I don't think there was a charge I wasn't charged with when I was younger. But anyway, moving on. I've only about 20 minutes here or something, but I'll try my best here. Moving on, I ended up coming to the attention of the police at an early age. So did the rest of the brothers. And I ended up in Rathgale when I was 12 and didn't get out until I was 16. When I got out at 16, in there now, they couldn't keep us. We were always breaking it or running away from it. And I was getting into more trouble every time I run away with different fellas. Everywhere we ended up, Dunmore, everywhere, Bridge, everywhere to get away from it. But yeah, I got out when I was 16 and started working in the YTP or something. But then I met Mandy years ago, and I think I was 17 when she fell pregnant and we had to get married. All the older folk and all our older folk wanted us married. The marriage only lasted 8 weeks. So it did, but we have a lovely daughter who's here tonight. But anyway, so I blame myself. Because I was running about like a madman, still drinking and getting on and taking drugs and everything else. And I got into more trouble. I ended up in the YOC, from the YOC to Crumman, from the Crumman Road to McGilligan, all of them for all sorts of trouble. And that was I was involved in paramilitarism as well over the years. So you can guess, sir, what was up till there. I'll leave that wee bit with the Lord, if that's all right. But no, over all the years, it was just, do you know what? I'm not going to say I regret it. I'll say it was wasted years. That's what I'll say, wasted years. But anyway, I had another relationship, or more marriage with Linda Craney, and I had my son and my daughter, Claire, or Chanel, or Chelsea and Alan, who's also here tonight. So, yes. So, that lasted 14 years, but I was still running about mad, drinking, cocaine, a lot, everything, you name it, I was taking it. So I was. But I ended up with third marriage after 14 years. You'd have thought I learned my lesson. God forgive me. But after, I was with Jenny. I've 2 kids to Jenny. So I have, but that's over now too. I don't know why, I can't figure it out yet, because it's only free, it's over. But anyway, yes, well, when I met Jenny, we lived in Glencairn for 2 years, and I started getting into work with painting, started off painting, and then I started a wee job. Glaze McCourt got me at delivering the telegraphs. I moved. Jenny was living up in Glencairn for 2 years, and she says, I can't stick this up here. She says, I'm going to Bangor and you can come if you want. Here's me, all right. Well, so I ended up in Bangor, and I was there in Bangor for 14 years. So I started settling down eventually. But anyway, the jobs came and went with me. Thankfully, and thank the Lord that I had jobs to go till. But they came and went, and I ended up on the railway. Glenn got me a job on the railway. The telegraph folded up, and our Glenn got me a job on the railway. So I was working on the railway for all these years, all over the country. We were staying down in Portrush and all. And And that wee Keith Hamilton was my nephew, like a nephew to me. And I got Keith into a house. He says, I want to stay where we're staying up in houses. He says, I want to move in with you. And here's me, I want to do this. He was wanting in with me. So I turned around and I says to a fella that was with us, he was eating my food out of the cupboard. But I didn't worry about it at the time. So I says to him, listen, you'll have to go down to that other house. Keith wants in here with me. I want to keep him with me. And that's the way it happened. But he went and told one of the bosses. And the boss phoned me and he says, oh, what are you doing putting people out of houses? Here's me. He's eating all my food. What do you want me to do? So the next thing, he just laughed at me. The boss just laughed at me and hung up. So we got Keith in the house with us and everything was going great. But we ended up over with that there and we all come back down. We were up there 18 months working and we come back down here. And one night, Keith and I and another fella was sitting in this is looking back now, I'm up to, 4 years it'll be, where we're sitting in a canteen, only me and the machine driver that I looked after, Banksman and Keith. But we're having a laugh right up till about 11 o'clock at night, and I still see the vision now. Keith just got up about 11 o'clock at night, just went to me like this, you should go to church. And I looked at him and he what? He says, you should go to church. I says, I know all about it. Keith, Wild Cross, because I bought that. My wee granny was a Christian all her life. And when she passed away, I bought the cross I didn't want to know God then. But thankfully, God wanted to know me. So, and his cross was always a keepsake for my granny's with the money she left us. But I said to him, I know all about it. And that was it. 48 hours later, Keith was dead. That's the last words I ever had with Keith. He took his life right there. So he did, and I was running about for a week, lost in sleep, everything. I couldn't get the words out of my head, so I couldn't. And right up to Friday, I'm wearing this wee Chelsea top as a wee tribute to him because he was a Chelsea supporter as well. And I couldn't get the words. I remember carrying him down the Shankill with a wee geezer. Me and him was at the front because of our height. And I can still see the vision, carrying Keith down the road. You should go to church, you should go to church. Honestly, I didn't know what to do. So Monday night, Keith was buried on a Friday. I'm not sure it was a Friday. And the weekend, I couldn't even hardly sleep or nothing, thinking. And Monday night, I left to come up to see my brother Brian, to see how he was. And I never went down Northumberland Street there in my life. Never. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I went down it. And this was about 8:15 at night. And here's me hanging down this way. So I drove down Northumberland Street and came along where the church is. And I just looked. New Life City Church. Here's me with my work gear and a work phone here, just threw it in here. I'm hanging in there for a Bible. I says, so I wandered in, and Boneyard, Tommy Roundtree, all the fellas that's there, were all there sitting. Boneyard come over, are you all right? I says, what, all right? Here's me, I'm in here for a Bible and the money in my pocket to buy it. That's what I said. So he says to me, sit down, you'll be all right. I got a cup of tea. You know what? Sitting with him, I felt a wee bit at ease. I says, I haven't felt like this in a while. So the wee meeting came to an end. I went on to work, and Boneyard gave me his number, and I phoned him on the Wednesday night. And I says, Boneyard, what do I wear at church? I'm going to come on Sunday. Here he was, anything you want. Here me, oh, you couldn't believe him. I says, I have to watch myself. So it ended up, I came. I think when I did come in, I was overdressed. And there's a fella, I'll never forget this either, because there was a fella, Paul, I got to know, he stayed with Tommy Roundtree, and he sat down beside me, and he was on a Man City kit. I looked at him, so all right. Man City were playing Chelsea that day in the Community Shield. I hope we beat this. There's a fella, Paul, and I got to know him. Well, anyway, I came to church, and I says, oh, this is good, I like this. I loved coming in here. I could live in it, so I could. But over the weeks, I was actually going from here to Live in Hope, and I come back over here, and I says to Boneyard, I love it in here. That's where I want to be. And he says, right, I think I'll talk him away from her. But anyway, I was running about here for about 8 or 9 weeks. Tommy Roundtree says to me one night sitting there, are you still in Bangor? I says, yeah. He says, sure, he's giving his testimony down there the night. And when he mentioned that the Clifton Road Wee Church, I knew exactly where it was. Here's me, I'm going to go to it. So I did. I got myself gathered up and went round. And Chewy was there at the door. He greeted me at the door and he introduced me to Anna. That's the only two people I knew in this wee church in Bangor. So it was. And I sat through the wee meeting, and it was great listening to Chewy's testimony. And I said to myself, Chewy's a Christian. And here's me. If he can do it, I'm going to do it, you know. So I didn't even really know, because when I would finish, my hand was up and all. And she called me up, and I surrendered myself to the Lord that night. And you know what? I can honestly say it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. And this church, I love it. The pastors, the fellas, everybody in it, I love them all, because it is a good place to be. So it is. So in my journey now, coming on a bit, in the journey now, I've been praying to the Lord to be used in the area, because I was a rascal in it. That's what I was, up to no good in it. And like I said, they were wasted years. So it mightn't mean much, but there's answering prayers to me, because I'm now in a wee team with wee Tommy Latimer, Tommy Roundtree, and who else is in it? There's John Irvin. He's there. Couldn't see you around, like John. So we're a wee team, and we'll go around people it's not too well, and we'll pray over them and have a wee arm with them. And I'm also involved in the youth. So, yeah, they're answering prayers to me, because I asked the Lord to be used in the area. I want used in the area. So I'm getting used in it, and they're answering prayers to me. And I just thank the Lord for everything he's done in me. I do believe throughout my time not being a Christian that the Lord had his hand on me. Because anything now, it's hard at times, even hard getting up here at night. I'm a nervous wreck. Making sure it. But no, and that's where I am now, going around and praying for people, and we prayer walks in the Shaggle and the Falls, we do. So I'm happy, and that's where I want to be, and I love it. And if there's anybody here tonight, if you can get a word from mine, give it a go. Give it a go. Come in here and give it a go, or else just come in and speak to any Christian you know or anything, because it's the best decision I've ever made. And I want to thank just Boneyard, Tommy Roundtree, the pastors in here, and even the congregation, everybody that knows me. I thank you all from my heart and soul, and I love it. That's it. So it is all right. Thank you.